I'm excited for this podcast, guys. We are getting ready to be live on Instagram. Give us a hot second here. There we go. Okay, so I have a big deal in my podcast room today, Michelle. I'm kind of feeling like a little starstruck. So it's so funny because I had like 3 Michelles on the podcast in a row, and I'm like, who am I seeing today, right? So we hold this podcast to give people inspiration to be more joyful in practice, so that if they're coming from a place of joy, that's only going to be contagious. The fear and the anger and the resentment are contagious, but so is the joy. So with that being said, Michelle, I'm so happy you're here. Please tell our audience, who are you? Where are you? What do you do? All of it.
Excellent. Thank you, Jody. Thank you for having me on here. And I love the concept of spreading joy. That's what my whole world has been about. So it's so exciting. I'm Dr. Michelle Wendling, and I own BeTheBestChiropractor.com. I am currently in Pensacola, Florida. And I say currently because we travel all over the globe. My husband and I love to travel. We love to be in different spaces. We can work from anywhere. And so part of living your joy-filled life is to wake up where you want to wake up, wherever that is. So yeah, that's what I am.
And you're not in practice anymore as a practicing chiropractor? No. How
Correct.
long has that been? How long have you been on the road?
So we sold our practice. I sold my practice in 2021 so that we could start our life in an RV. And we traveled in an RV all over the country for 2 years. And I will tell you, there's nothing like waking up in a new space, having new energy, new vibe, experiencing a new local culture to really shake things up. And there was so much amazingness in the United States, and we just went place to place to place for 2 years. It was amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we found Pensacola, and that was like the epitome of joy. Like, you have to come visit. It's unreal.
Oh,
like
no, she's freezing. Michelle, you're freezing on us. It might be, yeah. So if you freeze again, we'll just have to get creative.
Okay. I like creativity.
When you started the whole journey of like going and living your best life and doing the RV thing, how did you even know where to start? Like, first of all, wait, I want to know so much about this. What did you say to the gremlin that was like, this is crazy, I can't really do this? I want to hear about that. And then I also want to hear about, like, how do you know what kind of RV to buy? How do you know where to go? How do you know that you're not going to get like kidnapped at 3:00 in the morning? I don't know anything about, I want to hear all of that.
Well, so first of all, I call it monkey mind. The gremlins for me are called monkey mind, and they are always present, right? They're always present. And it's important for you to listen to them, acknowledge them, and then let them know that they're not needed. They're not currently needed in this situation. I am an optimist all the way down to my toenails. And I will tell you that I always run worst case scenario. And what I mean by that is, okay, if this happens, are we going to end up under a bridge? No? Okay, let's do it. And it helps me take more risks because I know for sure there's some kind of safety net that would keep me from being in my worst case scenario. Not that living under a bridge would be that bad, depending on where the bridge was, but I digress.
Myself, like, that could actually be kind of cool.
You'd be the troll under the bridge, except you'd be the whatever fairy under the bridge.
Under the bridge.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, it was just, I'm a planner. I have spreadsheets for my spreadsheets. So I calculated out all the numbers. Everything made sense. We sold everything we owned. It was wonderful, super freeing, scary, yes, but amazing. And it set me up to be able to see even more possibilities for myself, for my life, but also for my clients. And I just think that was such a big shift. Like, building a practice is a huge risk, right? Starting your own practice is a huge risk. And all of those things I did with like, I got this, right?
Right.
And so the RV wasn't that much different because it's a calculated risk based on information gathering. So I'm a information sponge. So I think that helped.
Do you have any risks that you're like, that's next, that you're planning for right now?
Yep. Right now, we are currently planning to not have any house again. That's next. Right now we've got 3 houses in Pensacola, 2 are rental properties and 1 is our house, and we want to rent all of them and just start traveling again. From there, we're going to springboard onto a sailboat, and then the sailboat will be what we live on for the next 2.5 to 3 years. And ideally, I'd be able to pull up to an island, adjust people. They can bring me some eggs or some shoes or some chicken or whatever, and we'll just barter and I'll just adjust the world. And
that is completely badass. So I have to connect you with Karen McGlashan. She is, do you know her?
Karen, yes, I do.
She's a chiropractor and she lives on a sailboat. We did all of her, like her website and her practice suite. And I was like, where are you going to go next, Karen? Like living vicariously through her as we were building all the pieces for her.
Isn't she in St. Pete, Florida?
She's in St. Pete.
Okay,
I think she's
I got to go on her sailboat.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys really know each other.
Yeah.
So let her know that if you talk to her soon, how much I love and adore her.
She's amazing.
You know, here's the thing, like I think when we're learning in school and some of us, when we're new in practice, we're in this box of limits.
Big time.
There's always limits, like there are always boundaries. And I think to some extent that's healthy. But my coaching, the group that I am a member of, that I get coaching from, they have me do this Dream 100 list of like, if I could wave a wand, and you know what, in my world I can. And if I could wave this wand and say, these are the people that I want to work with. These are like the one day, right? How do you turn? Because if I'm only here for 100 years or 90 years or 80 years, whatever I have in store, right? How do I live my best self now, doing this scary thing that are outside of the limits? So the other thing that I'm learning more and more is that if you don't ask, you can't get a no, and you also can't get a yes. Right? So I've been really like, I don't like the term ballsy. I like the term like ovary with like, you know what, I'm just going to ask. And most of the time when I do, it's a yes. It's a big fat yes. So how do you give us some examples? Like, how do you live your life not being confined by those boundaries or those limits?
Well, so I've been being coached for 15 years with a group that the very first question they ever asked me, and now I do this in my coaching too, and you've experienced this too, which is, if I was Santa Claus, what would you really want? Let's leave the house out of it.
But you're not Santa Claus, silly.
I'm not.
Santa Claus is at the North Pole.
Thank goodness I'm not Santa Claus. That would be a lot of work and a lot of cookies, and I'm not sure I'm up for that. but I always ask myself, and I ask others, like, what would you create if you could create anything? And it starts to train you to stop listening to the monkey mind, because the monkey mind is like, well, how's that going to happen? Well, that's never going to work out, and blah, blah, blah. Right. And so you have to just go, hang on, let me vision first. We'll figure out the how later. I'm going to build a transporter unit. That's happening. And I'm going to do it by next week, next Thursday. I'm not going to worry about the how. I'm going to figure it out. We're just going to do it. Right. And so by creating that and looking at things that way, it helps a lot in getting past those boundaries. That you nailed it. We make those up ourselves. Those are all self-imposed, all of them.
Right? How much of that is having the right tools? Like, we can say, I can wave my wand and want to create this and that, but if I don't have the tools to do it, I'm out of luck.
Absolutely. Well, and I think you need the tools. I think you need the community, because validation is a true thing, and you need to have things reflected back to you as a human being. That's why we're in herds, right? That's why we're in groups. We're not just off solo. And so I think you need a good community, and you need the tools for sure. And the tools can be taught fairly quickly. But you have to follow. It's practice makes permanent, right? Whatever you practice the most often becomes your rule, your law, your boundaries.
And then I go back to that with the question, is anything permanent?
Nothing. Thank goodness. And that makes making a choice easier. Right? Because, I mean, you'll hear people are like, oh my God, what hours might I put? I don't know what hours to set my practice. Like, nothing is permanent.
Right.
It's all fluid. It's all flexible, and it's all your choice, which is so amazing. You follow your own recipe. Don't follow someone else's. I mean, use pieces from someone else's so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Yes, got it. But make it your own, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
I have so many thoughts going through my mind as I'm intentionally listening. So one of them is, as soon as you figure it out, it changes. That's like the aha from being a mom, right? As soon as I figure this kid out, he starts to change. As soon as I figure AI out, somebody comes out with a new code or a new, and nothing. So like some of our clients get really frustrated. Like, I thought you said this was the way it works. And I'm always super transparent about not holding on to any of it, because none of it's real. It's all an illusion and it's all temporary. The other thing that I'm thinking a lot about is, I'm training for a half marathon right now, and I'm doing a lot of running. I'm running like 20 miles a week. I'm biking like 100 miles a week. And in my runs, if I see somebody coming my way, like, I am not a natural runner. If I see someone coming my way, it gives me inspiration to like step up my pace, or like smile or look cool or whatever it is, because someone's coming my way. And if that doesn't happen, I'm less inspired. And when you talk about herd, like being part of a herd, even if it's a perfect stranger, or if I'm running in a pack of people,
Yes.
or if I'm like, I'm going to Lyceum the weekend after next at Sherman, and being around chiropractors who see chiropractic through the same lenses that I do, I don't even know what to expect of how I'm going to be inspired. I just know I'm going to leave there as a better person. So what herds do you roam with? Like, what are your groups? Where do you love to hang out?
Oh my goodness. There's so many. Really, anytime. Like this weekend, I just went to visit a chiro up in Chicago and experienced the Chicago not necessarily smiling thing on the sidewalk, which is not something that happens in
Oh, that's
Pensacola
funny.
anymore, right? So in Pensacola, you smile and they smile back. And
Oh,
in
Jersey is
Chicago,
like, they spit on you.
it's so bizarre, right? And you have to learn to let that go. Absolutely. But hanging out, anytime I get to hang out with docs of any kind or any service providers, it's absolutely what lights me up. I have groups in Colorado, I guess they're called the Denver Boss Chiro Ladies, and they are bosses all the
Really?
way. They're so fun. And so I used to hang out with them all the time. It's been hard, I will tell you, finding a crowd as an adult, because we move so much, and we just now have about, I would say, 6 or 7 decent friends here, and that's a good
That's a
group.
good amount. Yeah.
It really is now, but you asked me 6 months ago and it was half that. It's a lot of work to facilitate and be part of a group and be part of a community and always show up. And I'm always the instigator, so it's a little tiring there, but the reward is, outweighs the work all day long, because I'm a
Are
people
most of
person.
your groups chiropractors?
Most of my groups online are chiropractors.
Uh-huh.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Can we go back to the RV thing?
Yeah, of course. We can talk about that
I
all
want to
day,
remember.
Jody.
How do you know where to start?
Well,
You
so
just put a dot in a map and go?
we sold everything knowing we were going to go to a condo that my in-laws owned in Florida. So we sold everything, went there, shopped for an RV, knowing that we're both going to have to work. We both needed a room where we could have conversations at the same time, right? And an RV, in case you haven't noticed, aren't very
Right.
big, right? So we got one with a center bunk, with a mid bunk they call it, and the door closed. So my husband's office was in there, and I sat either at the kitchen table or outside in the beautiful nature. And then, yeah, we basically said, well, we've never been north. Let's go north. And so we went north, actually went through not too far from your neck of the woods. So we went up to Niagara Falls, and we went around New York and Rhode Island and Connecticut. So I'd never
That's
been up
so
there.
cool. Are
The
you a
second
mom?
year, no.
No, okay. So you didn't have to wait for the kids to be done, the blah, blah, blah.
Great. Yes, I consciously chose not to be a parent. So that was
Yeah.
that was my
I love
choice.
I love the permission that you give yourself to just live your best life. I think it is wild and so cool. Really inspirational.
Well, I think, to me, my shadow is obligation. That's my dark side. And
What do you
so
mean? Can you
so
unpack that?
when when I feel something as an obligation, it tends to take over my whole life because I'm extremely loyal. I will go out of my way 10 times over for a friend, whether or not they love me back. I am, but then when I live there and I think, oh my gosh, I'm doing this out of obligation, not out of joy or choice, then it really squishes me. It makes me
Right.
feel small and it lowers my energy level. So I really had to be clear that moving forward, I'm not doing this RV because it's my husband's dream, right? But I wasn't doing it out of obligation to him. I was doing it because it really it got to a place where it was so exciting for me and I really, really wanted to do it. So as long as I stay in the box of passion is the opposite of obligation, curiosity is the opposite of doubt. So as long as I stay in
Wait a
curiosity and
second.
passion,
Stop. Hold on. Say it again. That was so good.
passion is the opposite of it's the light side of obligation. So when you're in something and it feels like you have to do it, find a passion in it or don't do it is really
Right.
the other answer. Children is a great example. We are so passionate about our children, about our family, about things in our lives. And so when you're leaning into obligation because you're like, I have to pick them at school or I have to make them, whatever it is you have to do, you don't really want, I have to punish them because they didn't do such and such. Lean into the passion side connection that you have with that child. And oh my gosh, it
Right.
makes it more fun, more doable, more energizing. So,
For
but
everybody, not
for
only for
everybody.
you, but for your kid too. I
Right.
keep practicing. I have a 17-year-old, almost 18,
Oh my gosh,
and
congratulations.
and I have a 20-year-old. And my 17-year-old graduated high school a year early and started college. So he's doing
Wow.
full-time college load and he's working a lot, right? And I find myself doing things that I didn't love receiving as a mom, as a kid when my parents were, or my parent was raising me.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep challenging myself to, I'll see, like the tendency doesn't go away. I still see the, right? But I'm the next thought is, okay, let me find the good. Let me find something to celebrate because he is so worthy of celebration, right? So,
Yes.
and as I practice that, it becomes easier and easier. And then I like myself more. He likes me more.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of these consequences to right actions start to pop up. That's never not true, right?
Agreed. In practice, anywhere, like a lot of docs are seeing patients out of obligation, and it's only because all of a sudden it started to become routine instead of something they looked forward to. And so now it starts to feel like obligation. I have to go to the office. I have to see these patients. Oh, that one guy's going to come in and he's going to whine, whatever about his big toe, right? And docs slip into that box rather than leaning into the passion. And the same thing happens there. We see it all the time. And then burnout happens and so on and so forth. But really, it's really about take a step back and go, okay,
Mm-hmm.
collect the joy. Look at why am I a chiropractor? Why am I here? Why am I a mom? Why am I here? Right? What do I love about this? And then all of a sudden the obligation kind of melts away.
I think that there are two really important components of having a coach. And I'm not a coach. I run a marketing and practice joy agency, right? I do consulting, but I'm not coaching. We have coaches, and here's their lane, and I'm going to assume that this is yours too. One is the coach is like, oh, look at that. Look at that little thing that's happening right there. Where you don't see that thing because you're in
Right.
the thing. And the coach is like, no. Come back. Look at that thing right there. It's still there. What are we going to do? How are we going to hold curiosity around that thing? That's one thing that my coaches do for me is they say, Jody, you got to look at what's happening. Change the lenses, like put a different set of lenses on, and then come back to me a week later and make sure I did something about it. If the number one thing, and I've been a chiropractor for 26 years, and I think all of those years I've had a coach. I've spent probably $500,000 on coaching over the past 26 years, the best of the best, right? And the best coaches come back to me with oh, look at that. Okay, let's do something about that.
So true.
Do something about that. They hold me to it the next week.
Right.
There was, before the pandemic, I was working with a nutrition coach, and it was the fastest to my goals that I had ever hit. And the difference, it wasn't her program, because everybody has the same program. It's like eat less, move more, right? So
Weird.
It wasn't the program. It was, I knew that she was going to call me on my stuff if I didn't do the, oh, look at that, right? So talk to me about how important that is in your world, having it for yourself, but also offering it to your clients.
Well, so a goal is kind of a promise you make to yourself, right? And so, and you know how it feels when you tell yourself something, I'm going to start going to the gym, and then you don't. And you know how that feels, right? And that promise of consistently letting yourself down is just an energy drain. It just
Right.
consistently brings you down lower and lower, makes it harder and harder to crawl up that mountain, to push the stone up that mountain, as some of my clients say. I'm starting pushing a stone up the mountain. Okay, well, let's figure out a system to do that. You know, and I think the biggest piece is really stopping and finding the one thing, yes, but then figuring out what works for you to fix the one thing.
Mm-hmm.
To me, a coach is a collaborator, and you say, like your GPS, you say, I want to get there, and the GPS says, all right, here's some routes to get you there. Do you want to drive by the water? Do you want to drive by the mountain? Do you want to drive around the corner? Right? How do you want to get there? There's lots of ways to get there, and there's only one or two ways that really work for you, being integrity with who you are. So I joke about, you got to find your own recipe, and I say that over and over again, because I think that's the biggest piece is, yes, you have to have an action step, absolutely, but you can't have someone else's action step.
Right. So give me an example of having somebody else's action step, please.
Well, so in school, and when you first get out of school, you're told this is how you need to schedule patients. These are your hours you need to have, right? This is, and you look online and you see very successful chiropractors of any walk of life, or successful practitioners of any walk of life, and you go, oh, I guess I have to do it like them. And the truth is, if you do it like them, you'll have their practice, and you don't want their practice, you want your practice. So getting a little more clear on what that feels like to you, which is definitely trial and error, right? There's a reason it's called practice.
Right.
Because you got to try on the dress to see if it fits.
But if I stay, I'm going to speak for myself. If I stay in my house over, on the weekend, if I don't go to the convention, if I don't make an effort to go participate in the community, I'm not going to see the things that I want to manifest for myself in my practice. And totally. I remember when I was in my 20s, I was studying Janine Roth, and she teaches, she's got a book, Women, Food, and God. And she basically teaches women who don't naturally eat food, use food and money in a healthy way. She teaches them how to get healthy with it. Ooh. And I learned so much from her, right? And I would go, one of the things, it was self-assigned. One of the things I would do is I would go to a diner. This sounds really weird, but it really worked. And I would find the women who looked really comfortable in their bodies, and who were thin and fit and just had this beauty about them. And I would watch them put their fork down between bites. I would watch them leave food on their plate and then walk away. I would watch them take a sip and then take a bite and chew for a minute. And these were all things that I never learned. I'm Dinnerman, right? So I had to learn how to do it the opposite of what I was taught, and then find my rhythm with it. And I still go away and come back and go away. There are some things in my life that are constant learning lessons. So, that's why we have women like you in chiropractic, where we can say, look, this is possible, guys. You may not want the same RV. You may want to have a mailing address that you're at 6 months out of the year. You may want to follow exactly the way that Michelle is doing it, but at least we have these options. We have these. Lona Cook is another person that I think of. Like, she's just a torchbearer. Like, watch her go. Amy Burke moved to Italy bought an island, opened a wellness retreat. Like, truly, whatever we can dream is possible, especially in 2026. Can you talk to us about where do we find the tools? Where do we find, if say we have a dream of having a practice and being happy in it or whatever it is, where do we start with the journey of searching?
Well, I think there's two pieces to that. One, go out and gather that information. Go to those seminars. Go learn from the people. Like, find some blueprints and then realize that they're fuzzy blueprints. Don't follow them like an engineer necessarily. Look for places where you can find yourself. And that's the second piece, is really look inside. Like, do more self-care. Listen to yourself. Be quiet for a minute. Take the weekend off. Those kinds of things, so that what?
You talk to my husband.
Who does that? Yeah. Weekend. What is that? I don't even know. Right. So, but when you take the time to figure out who you are, when you get to the places you want to get to, you will be there. You will be there. Right. People are like, oh, I went to Bali to find myself. Wait, that was me. I did that. I wasn't there. Jody, I wasn't in Bali. I went to Bali to find myself and I wasn't there. I just brought myself with me everywhere I go. And I think that's the piece, is realizing that you are who you are. So the recipes aren't going to be exactly the same. But yeah, you have to go out and see what works for you, trial and error, and give yourself permission to try it.
Do you agree that the people who you surround yourself with are your greatest teachers? Like, can you speak a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I'm part of Women Chiropractors, and I do feel, I
love that group. I just love it.
Too. I know, me too. And I do feel that you draw people to you with the energy you reflect out.
Right.
And so there's good and there's bad in every group, in every city, in every country. But if you shine your light, the people who are going to be attracted to it are going to be attracted to it not to steal it. They'll be attracted to it because it lights them up too. And then it'll reflect. I use the analogy of, a candle doesn't lose its light when it lights another candle, right? So the thing about the community you're in, if you feel like you can unabashedly support and cheer for and celebrate the other people in that group, you're in the right space.
Well said. And how do you know if you're in a community and that's kind of true, how do you know when it's your dharma or your job to light it up brighter versus just saying, you know what, I'm going to find a different community?
Well, so actually it's kind of funny, because one of the questions you said you were going to ask me, and this is the answer to that question, whether you knew it or not. And the thing I would go back 10 years ago, or even 20 years ago, or 30 years ago and tell myself is, don't be scared to love them, even when it appears they don't love you back. Because almost always we make up stories because of people's reactions that it means something that it doesn't mean at all, right? But we're making up those stories. So the rule is, if you're going to make up a story, make up a good one. So shine your light regardless, and do not have attachment, because attachment dampens your flame. Disappointment dampens your flame. So don't have attachment to what their response is. Just enjoy their response, whatever that is. And shine your light in many places. What you'll find is that suddenly you're getting more energy from this other group than you were from this group number one. And you'll just naturally drift to that group. I don't think you necessarily have to consciously decide, these are my people, not my people. Although I do say that to myself a lot. But I think the first thing is to go, do I feel energized? Not going there. So here's the thing. The pre-talk, the pre-head talk, that's your monkey mind going, you're not going to have any fun. Nobody's going to like you. You're not wearing the right clothes. What's wrong with you? Right. That's before. But after you go to the thing, wherever it is, you hang out with the people, feel your energy then. Because almost always it's elevated. Once you start a conversation in an elevator with a stranger, your mood is elevated. You're scared to start it.
Listen to that too, right? Like if you leave a seminar and you're like, that was the worst experience ever, you guys don't do it again.
Right. Yeah. Be a quick learner.
Learn really fast and then leave. Is there anything else that you want our audience to know? Because we're at time. I could talk to you for like 5 hours, but
Ditto.
unfortunately we have 30 minutes scheduled for this.
I understand. Thank you, Jody. Yeah, I just say, dream bigger. Just
Mm.
look for what is possible, and not even what's possible. Maybe even ask the people that in your big trust group, in your community of love. Ask them what's possible or what your superpowers are or whatever, and start leaning into those a little bit more. There's so much possibility, and nobody's recipe. Most people haven't even written a story like yours is going to be.
Most
Right?
people haven't even written a story like yours. So many things. I cannot wait to re-listen to this. And if I can just take like 30 seconds and say what I see as your superpower, you have this infectious light about you. And it's like you talk about lighting a candle. You are a candle, and being around you. And I didn't know this about you because I don't really know you, but being around you makes me want to go be better. So that's your superpower, my friend. And at least one of them that I can identify. And I'm really grateful that you said yes to this opportunity.
But so am I. Thank you. You're going to make me cry.
You can
Thank you,
cry, it's
Jody.
cool. All right, Michelle, thank you for being on our podcast. For all of our listeners, go make the world better with great care, and we will talk to you soon. Michelle, please hang tight.